or my computer will crash. We'll see what happens.
I've got a little thing on mine that says live on it, so.
Yeah, live on YouTube.
Good to go.
Yeah.
We've been doing this for like the 12, 13 months now. So we're finally getting good at it. So I just want to say, I mentioned in the email, hopefully this is the last time or one of the last times we're going to do this remotely. At this point, the commission is meeting, the city commission is meeting in person, but all the other boards and committees in the city are still meeting remotely. We made that decision because there's a lot of varying sizes and types of boards, and state law currently says you can't have more than, I think, 25 people in a room, or that's what it said at the time we made this decision. And so it became difficult to try to figure out how we were going to deal with that. If there were, 25 people that wanted to come in for public comment in addition to the commission, we would still have to put all of them on Zoom and allow people to come in person. So we decided that we're just going to try to flip the switch on everybody at the same time. So we'd asked all the other boards and committees to continue meeting remotely just to be consistent. And I guess when I asked them to do that, we figured we should do it as well. So that's it. Hopefully we'll be back in person soon. You should have received, I guess we'll call the meeting to order officially now that I've said all that, at 4:02, I guess. And you should have received your packet. If anybody didn't get that, I can put it up on the screen, if that would help. You might not all be able to see me if I do that, though.
I've got mine.
Okay.
Yep, I
I've
got it.
got mine too, and I don't know if I can look at that at the same time that I'm on screen.
Okay.
Was I supposed to print that out, Kyle? Was I supposed to print that packet out?
No, I mean, we just made it available for you.
Okay. I
No,
did.
you don't need it. As long
No,
as
I
you
didn't. I
I
did
can
read.
tell you what's on it.
Yeah, I read it.
I'm now out of yellow ink.
Yeah.
I guess
That's-
roll call. Everybody is here for the meeting. There are no agenda changes. So I would need a motion and a support to approve the agenda as presented.
I
I'll
approved
move.
it.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna pick Barb and Judy.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. All in favor, say yes.
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 Opposed, none. Announcements, we have no announcements necessarily. There is nobody in this room virtually for public comment, and it's kind of the same process we have for the city commission. We did tell people if they wanted to submit public comment, we were receiving emails, or they could join us digitally. We have none of those. So public comment is gone. The minutes for the October 20th, 2020 meeting was a good long time ago, but that was the public accuracy test in the gym. Barb, I know you weren't there, but if we could get a motion and a support for those, unless anybody has any questions.
I'll move to support. Or I'll move to approve.
Margaret,
Margaret.
I support Linda.
all in favor? Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
I was there.
Yeah, so the background on this item, basically the only reason we have this meeting, we have it every April, is to confirm candidates for local office. So in the city of Marquette, that's City Commission and Board of Light and Power. And, the background kind of describes that process. The city charter says that candidates file for the August primary election. And in order to actually have the August election, we need more than twice as many candidates as we have open seats. So in this case, there are 2 seats on the city commission, 2 seats on the BLP. So if more than 4 people filed for either of those boards and were confirmed, we would have a primary in August. We don't have that number, which is rare. So they have, we kind of walk through the process. They have the ability to either give us petition sheets where they have 25 registered electors' signatures for their candidacy, or they can just give us $100 under the charter. Last year, it was, I think, 9 out of 10 or 8 out of 9 people gave us the money, which is not the typical breakdown, but COVID kind of skewed that. Same thing this time around. I think everybody paid us this time. We didn't get any signature sheets. So on an administrative end, it's simpler because we don't have to verify that the signatures are from registered voters in the city and all that. So all we have to verify under the city charter, all we have to verify is that these people are registered voters in the city of Marquette and have been for a year, and that they are not in debt to the city, not in default to the city, and that I just want to make sure, and that they haven't been on the board for 6 years, haven't been on the city commission or BLP for 6 years as of the election. So we did make that check. You know, there's always a little bit of running down information, but all of these candidates have gone past the Treasury Department. Nobody's in default to the city. We verified all of their registration status. So if you guys have any questions, we're open to those. But for City Commission, we have Jen Hill and Jenna Smith, who are both currently the mayor and the mayor pro tem in the city, running for re-election, and Margaret Brum running for election for City Commission. Board of Light and Power, John Prince is an incumbent running for re-election, and then John Brahms and Paul Schlegel are both running as well. And the second seat for the BLP right now is filled by Jerry Irby, but he has been on the board for 6 years, so he can't run for re-election. So if you have any questions, we're willing to answer them. Otherwise, we would just take a motion to verify the candidates for local office.
I'll make a motion
verify the
to
candidates.
verify them.
Linda and Judy. You guys are on top of it today. I love it. And then the last thing that we've got written down for today's agenda is updating our meeting schedule. So the meeting schedule every year, as you know, if there's a special election called or something, we might need to have additional meetings. In this case, we have meetings lining up for our August primary, including the appointment of election inspectors, which was July 8th, and the public accuracy test, which we had scheduled for July 20th. I mean, you guys don't get paid, as we noted earlier. So if you still want to have those meetings, you can, but we now no longer have a need for either of those meetings. So I don't think we need a motion on it, but unless there's an issue with the board, if somebody has a question or a concern about that, we would just cancel administratively that July 8th and July 20th meeting because we don't have an August election.
Okay.
That's because there's no primary, correct?
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
So we verify the candidates, which you just did, and then all of those candidates, since there isn't enough primary competition, basically, they all move automatically to the November election ballot. And then our next meeting would be September 23rd to appoint election inspectors for November. You know, there's still, I say administratively because there's still a possibility the county could throw a countywide election for August and we would have an election, but every indication I've received so far is that there's not going to be a countywide election. There's a couple of smaller, like a school election and maybe some other municipality having an election, but there's nothing on a countywide level, nothing in the city right now.
And what time is that? September 23rd, Kyle?
It is set for 4 p.m. September 23rd to appoint inspectors. And that's, like I said, I'm going to be extremely saddened if that one is still virtual.
Oh,
Yeah.
you'll let us know that. You'll let us know. Please.
Yeah, but I would plan, at least in the back of your mind, to meet in person, depending on requirements or whatever. We can meet in the gym probably, or in the commission chambers or something like we usually do. It's not like we meet in a broom closet anyway.
Not quite.
So that is it. We will, unless you hear otherwise from us in the coming days, I would assume that we're not going to have those next two meetings leading
Do
up.
you want to
the
make a
August.
motion about those just to make it official?
Yeah, we can. I mean, if you're going to make a motion,
Or
I guess
Because
I want to
they
say
might
no,
happen?
just on the off wild chance that there
Okay.
is an August election, we would have to then schedule one against your will.
okay,
So we'll leave them on the calendar, and I will verify with you guys as soon as the county tells us that they're not having
Okay.
an August election.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so that is pretty much it. Election activities, there's, if you guys have any specific questions, we can field them. There's been a lot of talk everywhere about elections since we last met.
Oh, that's for sure.
Margaret Brum is persistent with nothing else.
Yeah, she's a regular. She's
Yeah.
run a handful of times now. So, I mean, she knows the process, I think.
She should.
So we've got we've got a pile of state bills that I have no idea what they mean to us at this point. I mean, you've probably seen in the news, there was Ed McBroom as the vice chair of the Senate Elections Committee. And he was sort of involved in a raft of like 25 different election bills that were introduced a few weeks back. And the state, some of the administration of the state immediately started yelling about disliking them. I mean, I don't know. Some of them are reasonable, I think. A lot of them wouldn't impact us at all, but I don't know really of any movement on that at this point. And it's nice that we don't have an election for 7 months, probably 6.5 months. So maybe gives all of that stuff some time to sift out.
Mm-hmm. No glitches with our election, right? Everything went smoothly.
No, I will say for the record, I guess, that we do use Dominion equipment. We got phone calls about that from people who wanted to know what equipment we used.
Oh, really?
He was being kind of cagey about it. And I finally said, it's Dominion. And he was not happy with that because that was the company that was being trotted out as having all of the issues. We had no issues. There was nothing, no problems with our machines. I will say most of the UP, I think, uses Dominion machines. The way the state rolled that out a few years ago, 2017, 2018, I think. 2018 was that new equipment came in. The way the state rolled it out is they gave 3 vendors the contracts in the state, and then the counties had the individual choice on a county level to decide which vendor they were going to go with, essentially. For a few reasons, Marquette County, one of them was that the support, the company that offered support and the go-between between the equipment vendor and the municipalities, the company that we were using for that also works with Dominion. So we got to keep a lot of like the local support staff that we had on a county level. So the county decided to go with Dominion. So everybody in Marquette County uses Dominion machines. I mean, that said, I had people calling and asking me if I knew that, our votes after they were cast had been tabulated in Spain or France or Venezuela or something, which just from like a technical standpoint there do exist voting machines that can connect to the internet or that have the ability within them. The machines that we have actually have a port that you can put a modem in to connect them to the internet. And we've never used the port. It's sealed, it's locked. Like it's not possible to get that machine to connect to the internet. So if you wanted to count the machine or the votes from the tabulator in Germany or Venezuela or whatever, you'd have to get the votes there physically, I guess. And we always have paper ballots to back everything up. So.
Well, that's great. Good.
There were a handful of, so we had an audit of one of our precincts. The state does a couple of different types of audits. One is a random audit where they come in and it's like a materials audit, basically. They come in and they'll review your paperwork, they'll review the seals, the process. And it's not like there's not like legal repercussions, but they just want to make sure on a random basis around the state that you completed the checklist appropriately. And if you didn't, they'll, work through it with you and talk about next steps. One precinct got just randomly selected for that. And there were no issues, no questions. And then the state also does like a statistical audit on ballots cast statewide, where they basically say, candidate A got 70% of the vote, candidate B got 30%. So if you pull a large random sampling of ballots around the state, it should look about like that. And if it doesn't, that might indicate that there was some sort of weird issue. So they sent, I don't even remember how many ballots it was, but we had to pull a handful. Pretty much every jurisdiction had to pull random ballots. and report the result to the state. They put it into this like large database for this random sampling, and I don't see the back end of it, but they came back off of that and said that it was like whatever 99.9% aligned with what they would expect. So,
Good. Oh,
so
boy.
if that inspires confidence,
Yep.
I'm happy. Like I
Yep.
said, locally we had no issues.
That's great.
So pending any other questions or topics, I think we're good. That pretty much met the bar for me for a review of election activities, I guess. Our next meeting then, according to this, we're assuming it's going to be September 23rd,
Right.
2021, to appoint election inspectors for that November election. It's, very likely, I mean, that's going to have the BLP and the city commission race. There may be a couple of other things, but they'd have to be like a county-wide millage renewal or something like that. Our senior center millage locally just got renewed. So it wouldn't be, I don't think there'd be anything from us that I can see on that ballot. So it's probably not going to be a turnout 70%, to say that. And I'm assuming we still have nobody in this room for public comment. So as soon as we're done here, this thing should kill on YouTube. And if everybody's good, I will adjourn the meeting.
Okay. Nice seeing everybody.
Nice seeing you guys. Thank you. And like I said, we'll follow up on the next meeting date for sure.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Bye, thank you.
4:17.
Okay.
Moves faster when we don't get paid, hey?
Bye, everyone.